What is up, guys? Delboy here. So Gennady Golovkin blasts out Martirosyan in 2 rounds to regain his middleweight titles. And I have to say, I was relatively impressed with Golovkin's showing. You know, he looked powerful, he looked quick, he looked sharp, and he looked very aggressive from early on. In the first round, I actually felt Martirosyan was doing okay. You know, he was popping the jab, he was trying to stick and move. It was what I was expecting from Martirosyan going into this fight. That's the fight I thought he would fight. And in the first round, he looked quite sharp. You know, he looked quick on his feet. The jab was working well and the right hand behind it at times. I felt Golovkin was still doing some good work himself. You know, the jab was quite spiteful early on from Golovkin. Golovkin was cutting the ring down quite well. And I felt overall he won the round based on activity and based on aggression. But Martirosyan had a good first round. In particular, he landed a nice combination. It was a jab 1-2 followed by another jab, 3 straight punches. It was almost like a Kovalev type combination when Kovalev sort of jumps in with straight punches. It was very Kovalev-esque, that combination from Martirosyan. And I've seen some people online suggest that that combination hurt Golovkin. I'm not sure whether it hurt him, but it definitely took him by surprise. But I don't really think he was hurt. But the first round to me was a typical Golovkin feeling out round, you know, when Golovkin just likes to get a feel for his opponent, get a feel for their power, their speed, and get an idea on how to time them. And it was a typical Golovkin first round. Round 2, Golovkin comes out with intense aggression, and he really turns the heat up on Martirosyan, and a series of right hands and a left hook drives on Martirosyan back to the ropes. And the combination, which was, I believe that was finished by a right hand, drops Martirosyan hard to the canvas, and he couldn't beat the count. I felt Golovkin looked good in this fight. He did what he had to do. When he turns it up, he really turns it up, and I was impressed with his performance. To me, Golovkin looked a lot quicker in this fight than he did in his last 2 or 3 fights, actually. He looked a little bit smaller to me, or whether that's just my eyesight, but he looked a little bit smaller to me, and he looked quicker. The jab was really, really quick. He was putting his shots together well. His timing was good. His power was there. You know, I felt it was a good performance from Golovkin. And don't get me wrong, yes, Martirosyan was out for 2 years. And yes, it's not the fight we wanted to see. But regardless, Golovkin got the job done. And he looked good doing it. He also became the first man to stop Martirosyan, which is a relatively decent accolade considering, you know, I mean, he's been in there with Lara twice, Demetrius Andrade, Jamel Charlo, guys like that, and he's never been stopped. He's never really even been badly hurt, really. You know, these guys were never close to stopping Martirosyan, and Golovkin just walked through him. So it's a good look for Golovkin. He did what he had to do, and that's all you can ask, really. And for the people who are criticising Golovkin for even taking this fight, I don't really get your point, to be honest. I mean, the guy had 2 weeks' notice to sort something out. And what do you expect him to do? Do you expect him to have a whole camp and just not fight at 36 years old? You know, firstly, taking a big loss financially by having all the sparring partners and all that sort of thing. But not only that, at 36 years old, you can't be affording to have a training camp and not fighting, because these camps, I've said it before and I'll say it again, they take a lot out of you, especially at that age. So Golovkin had to fight on May 5th, and Martirosyan was the best guy they could have got. And Martirosyan's not a scrub. A lot of people are making out like this guy's a bum. But, you know, the same people who said this guy's a bum were the same people saying Lara needs to fight Golovkin, when arguably Martirosyan beat Lara. So make of that what you will. And yes, I am aware Martirosyan had a 2-year layoff going into this fight. I am aware of that. But my point is, Martirosyan is not far off that level of the guys you really praise and you really dick suck. You know, guys like Andrade, guys like Lara. He's not far off that level in reality, and if you've seen his career unfold and if you've seen him fight, you'd realise that. But a lot of you guys don't look at the fights. You look at BoxRec, you look at the records, and you go from there. You know, a lot of you guys don't watch the actual fights. Martirosyan's a good fighter. Yes, he was compromised because of a 2-year layoff and the lack of training camp. You know, the lack of activity. Not too many high-profile fights at middleweight. Yes, he was compromised, and it wasn't the best Martirosyan, and it's not a great win. But my point is, a lot of you guys need to put just put things in context. And now we've got this out of the way, we can move on. And the question is, where does Golovkin go from here? Now, obviously, the big money fight is the Canelo Alvarez rematch. And I've got to say, I said it in the build-up to the second fight before the whole drug testing thing came about. I was really struggling to get up for that fight. I really, really was. Because I know what I saw first time around. I know Golovkin clearly beat Canelo. I know that. I don't care about subjectiveness. I don't care about, different criterias. No, Golovkin beat Canelo Alvarez. That's what I saw. And because of all the fuckery in the first fight, I wasn't looking forward to the rematch. And now if the rematch got rescheduled again, I wouldn't be too excited, I've got to say. I wouldn't be too excited. I've got to confess, I would rather see Golovkin unify the division. I would rather see him fight Billy Joe Saunders, just to tie up all of the belts. And then after that, maybe move up to super middleweight or take on some of his mandatories like Jamal Charlo or Derevchenko, guys like that, or maybe then go for that Canelo Alvarez rematch. But I've got to be honest, I would rather see Golovkin tie up the division and unify all 4 titles because then maybe this guy will get some credit. But I very much doubt that will happen. But Golovkin done what he had to do. Martirosyan came to fight. He threw his hands, but it wasn't enough. Overall, he just wasn't really ready for this opportunity. He wasn't ready for it. But Golovkin looked good. He looked sharp. He looked powerful. I felt he looked a bit quicker than usual, so credit to him. He had a lot of things on his mind going into this fight, and I felt he dealt with it quite well. And in the future, I would like to see Golovkin unify the division. I'm not too bothered about that Canelo rematch. Will I watch it? Of course I will, but the thought of a rematch just doesn't really get me going. What do you guys think? Peace.